7.6, welcome back to your new summer half term. We have about 7 weeks until the end of this really strange term, and I hope you're all okay. I hope you had a lovely holiday. Well, I say holiday, just time off from doing schoolwork, and enjoyed all that sunshine. Hopefully there should be some more sunshine by the weekend. I know the next few days looks a bit rubbish weather-wise. Anyway, I'd like to introduce your new topic. So your new topic for this term is dystopian fiction. So in this lesson we're going to find out what is meant by dystopian fiction, how we can identify dystopian worlds, and what the difference between a dystopian world and a utopian world is. So you will need to open your exercise books if that's what you're working from. Put your title as Summer Term, Lesson 1, Dystopian Fiction, today's date. If not, you can type it up on the computer, whichever way you're doing it, and we'll go from there. So the idea of a dystopian world is the opposite to a utopian world. Sorry, that's my neighbour's dog. You might hear my dog bark as well in a minute. So I want you to understand what is meant by dystopia and dystopian fiction. So your starter is to have a think about what will have changed in the next 150 years and what do you think will be similar to now. So consider things like fashion, jobs, pollution and world affairs. I'd like you to write 2 sentences with your thoughts. So if you can give yourself 5 minutes and then we will come back. So have a think about what you think will have changed in the next 150 years and what do you think will be similar. Okay, I'm still here. I just went to shut the door so you can't hear the neighbour's dog. Right, so hopefully you've paused that anyway. And now you've had to think about what will change in the next 150 years. So, are the things that have changed, that have come up in your thoughts, are they positive things? Are they things that have been progressive for our world? So are they the advent of new technologies? How have jobs changed? What about our fashion? Does our fashion involve more technological advances now? So, for instance, I saw the other day, you can now, well, I don't know if they're just a concept, buy glasses that have almost like iPhone features. That sounds, you can show I don't know a lot about technology, but maybe that's a thing in your 150 years. Are they negative changes? Is there a lot more pollution? Has the world lost even more species of animals due to extinction as a result of our human behaviour? World affairs, so politics, have the political decisions of countries affected us in a negative way? What were the different things that you identified? Now, if you identified more negative changes, it might be that a world in 150 years, I mean I hope not, replicates something of what we call a dystopia, or a dystopian world. So this is an image of a world or existence where everything in the world is as bad as it can be. Now, hopefully it won't be as bad as you see in this image here, but it might be that elements of our world has changed the worst. A great possibility would be pollution, and the effect of human behaviour on the animals and environment that we live in. Now, in direct contrast, a utopia, as you see above, is usually an imaginary place or a situation where everything is as perfect and lovely as it can be. So this image here shows lots of luscious vegetation, happily living alongside what looks like almost like a city in the sky. The sunshine looks like a nice bright place to live, which is in direct contrast to the image below, where you can see an image of a dark built up urban area. It looks like pollution. The area in front of the city looks very desolate and dead. The vegetation, the trees, the plants don't look very luscious and green, very grey. So a utopia is somewhere we would love to live in. A dystopia is somewhere we really wouldn't like to live in. Now, if you feel that you need to get a grasp a little bit more of what these images look like and how to identify what's in a dystopian world, I've attached on Go for Schools a Word document that is titled Differentiated Task, and on there is an image with numbers, I think 1 to 7, where you can identify different elements from that image that indicate it's a dystopian world. So that's something that you could have a look at in a minute if you feel that you need a bit more help with this. Now, a fun fact about the word dystopia, it's actually a Greek word, and it's been around for thousands of years, so it's not a new concept. The prefix of dys, so the beginning of the word, means bad, and the term topia, so the end, the suffix of the word, means place. So it literally translates from Greek dystopia into bad place. So just a bit of knowledge there you might be able to chuck out at the dining table tonight when you have your dinner. What is dystopia as a word, and how is it broken down? Where's it come from? There's your answer. So, your first task, I want you to have a think of any books or films that are set in a dystopian society. So I've got quite a list here, and this should take you about 10 minutes. Now, the ones that I've highlighted in red are either not particularly suitable for readers of your age, or you would definitely want to get permission if you ever chose to read them. But Lord of the Flies and Animal Farm, very old-fashioned books compared to something like The Hunger Games or The Maze Runner. So that's why they're in red. So I'd like you to pause this video, have a discussion, maybe with family. You could have a Google of different dystopian books or films, and then list them down. So I'd put a little table like this, or in your book, or on your screen if you're doing it on a Word document. Fill in the ones that I've got, and then try and get another 2 or 3 for each category. So if you pause this now for 10 minutes, see which other ones you can find, and then come back. Okay, so hopefully you found some different books and films that demonstrate a dystopian society. So what could we expect that all of these books, films that you might have just found, what could we expect that some of the key conventions might be of those books or films? So if we look at the blue box here, we've got what sort of characters might be in them. So often they're just very ordinary people for their world, but they're in an extraordinary place. So something about that world is extraordinary. It's not ordinary. Now often there's somebody with a lot of power that make people around the world scared or worship them. So there's a very dictatorial figure, somebody that's commanding. Now often there is a hero or heroine that fights against these with power, or with a particular skill. There's always that hero-villain element which kind of underpins a lot of the stories that you'll find in dystopian fiction. And sometimes the narratives are told in the first person, so they'll come directly from one of the lead characters. Now in the green box we've got about setting, which if we were to look back at this image here, the grey dark image, some of these elements might replicate what's in this image. So the world are close to destruction, or it's been after the world has been destroyed, or maybe there's been a particular, for instance, we've just had a big pandemic. You know, obviously it hasn't left us in the state of a dystopian world, but certainly in some fiction, pandemics have been used to demonstrate or been the underpinning for the setting of those stories. Maybe there's been a political situation, war, famine, it could be a natural disaster. So there's many different things that have caused the world to either be destroyed or shut down, or in the process of that. Now often these places are under heavy surveillance, with the citizens themselves being very monitored all the time. So we talk about now the Big Brother style society that we have, which means, you know, like the programme Big Brother, some people believe we're watched or monitored closely by different media outlets, governments, political parties, because they have access to so much information since things have gone online. You know, our banking is online, our social relationships are online, our shopping habits are online, things that we view are all online. So in theory, if you're in a position of power, you might be able to collate all of that information and observe what we, the general public, are up to. Also, I mean, you're probably aware that if you're in a big city around the world, there are millions of security cameras. They say in London it's very hard to get from one side of London to the other without being caught on camera. So in a dystopian society, there would be all of those things times 100. So you'd be very much monitored. There may well be a certain body of people, a group of people that are employed, it is their job, their purpose to monitor the citizens. So there's that kind of militarial governance as well. So like a police that are there to specifically check that you're not only obeying the laws, but they'll watch you to kind of catch you out. And here we've got, again, places controlled by technology, for example, robots. So again, a reference back to the internet and how that's used in a negative way. Often in these dystopian fiction tales, we have robots, imaginary technological machines that can do all sorts of different things that are often used negatively against the public that live in that world. And then finally, in this purple box, we've got thoughts and feelings, so different themes that might be in the stories. We've got the fear, that's a huge one, control, whether it's political, corporate, which means businesses, and media, or religious. A lack of trust against nature, so maybe that feeling that the world itself is trying to get rid of us as a population. Trust in technology and science, so it's like an alternative way of, maybe not alternative, what's the word that I'm looking for? So that often dystopian worlds are almost like they've been flipped from us living from nature to us feeling like nature is trying to go against us. Therefore, we're having to turn to technology for us to survive, which we know now, whereas in the past we were maybe doing that with Industrial Revolution, that now actually we're aware that it is nature that we need to preserve, because without our world, our natural world, we as a human species, we're not going to survive. But in a dystopian world, they believe the opposite. They believe that we need that technology, etc., to progress. And then power and survival. So the survival links into the person, to the character link of heroes and heroines fighting against somebody in a position of a villain or somebody with a tremendous amount of power. So in this orange box we've got a little bit more. So dystopian stories are often about survival. Their primary theme is oppression and rebellion. The environment plays an important role in dystopian fiction. Dystopian stories take place in the future, usually in large cities that have been devastated by pollution, war, revolutions, overpopulation and other disasters. Another characteristic of dystopian fiction is a strict division between the people or the characters. So there may be a separation by intellect, ability or class. So we said there again about people being very heavily governed or controlled. So where there's this division between people or characters, this may well come into that kind of control element that's coming from a dictatorial governance in the future world. And then in a typical dystopia, there's a strict government or leader. We said about this as well. Maybe a dictator who controls everything. There's also usually a protagonist. So that's the main character. A protagonist in a story, we've said before, is your main character. Often it will be your hero or your heroine. And they're questioning the society they live in. They're often feeling that something is terribly wrong with it and they're trying to change it. That often formulates the basis of a story in dystopian fiction. I would like you to now, we're going to watch some video clips and try and identify some of these conventions that we've spoken about. So we're going to watch 3 video clips, and I've attached these on Go for Schools individually. So the 3 YouTube clips that you see, actually no, I'm not going to do it like that because that could be confusing. I'm going to put these in a Word document that you can then just copy and paste. Because this is a video, you won't be able to do that. So I'll put these in a separate Word document that is attached with your Go for Schools information, and then you can just copy and paste these into your address bar in Safari or Chrome and watch them. So the 3 clips are from film trailers for 3 dystopian films. One is The Hunger Games, one is Children of Men, and the other one is Divergent. Now I'd like you to complete a table, so you can either cut it out, you could either print it off and cut it out and stick it into your books. It's also attached in a Word document, or you can just draw out the table and fill in the columns, whichever one's best for you. So this is the table, so you're going to have to take 5-10 minutes to either draw this out neatly, copy in your titles in the black, the green and the red. That's for your 3 films. And then or print it off. So I've also attached it with the Word in a Word document on Go for Schools. So you're going to have to draw this out, and then I would put, so for instance, your first clip, you could put Hunger Games under characters, and then next to your Hunger Games you could write what kind of characters do you have in that dystopia, and why do you often see these types of characters in dystopian writing. So what do we know about them? Okay, so you're going to fill in the columns while watching the 3 clips from The Hunger Games, Children of Men and Divergent. And they're all types of dystopias. So this should take you around 40 minutes to watch the clips, fill them in well, fill in these tables well with quite a lot of information. So if you'd like to pause the video, watch your 3 clips and fill in this table. So hopefully you've done that, which should have taken you around 40 minutes. Some of you, it might have even taken an hour if you've really written quite a lot for each of your 3 clips. Let's just go back to that one. Let's just have a quick look at some of these. So if we look at the setting here for the Children of Men clip, the places that the narrative happens. So where did it look like this clip was happening? So what kind of setting do we often see? So often they're in urban areas. Now, in Children of Men, it very much looked like, although it was only the clips, you're not sure for sure, that they were in London. There was a London bus. A busy street, it was polluted, rubbish on the ground, but there was obviously an advancement in technology. There was lots of video adverts on buses, lots of video adverts on the side of the buildings, and it was very grey and dark. So that could be something that you might have put in the settings column for Children of Men. And the thoughts and feelings for that one, it says there, example fear. Well, certainly in that clip that we watched for Children of Men, the guy at the end where there was the explosion, he was definitely fearful. And as he was watching the news clip in the cafe talking about the young boy that had been killed, he looked quite shocked, along with all the other characters that were in there. And there was a real mix of characters in that cafe, including an old lady with a dog. So maybe what does that tell us about the society that they're in? Yeah, so hopefully you've got some interesting thoughts for that one. Now, a 15-minute task to follow that. You've got 2 extracts here, really short, extract A and extract B. I'd like you to have a look in each extract and see what clues are there that these extracts are from dystopian novels. So instead of watching a clip now, what written down clues have we got about a dystopian world in extract A and extract B? So I would write down in extract A, we can tell this clip is from a dystopian novel because, and then tell me why. And then again in extract B, we can tell that this extract is from a dystopian novel because, and tell me why. So ideally a paragraph for each extract, just telling me what things you've noticed and how they demonstrate that they're probably from a dystopian novel. So that should take you 15 minutes. So again, pause the video and we can have a go at that. Okay, so finally, this is your challenge or extra task. So I know I said to a lot of you that we were going to do the Hunger Games solely as our topic this term, but that's not actually the case. So what we're actually doing is a dystopian project. So we're going to be looking at lots of different dystopian fiction. However, as an extension or a challenge task, I would like you, if you feel that you want to choose a dystopian novel to read alongside this scheme of work, and you'll be able to complete additional weekly tasks based on the book that you choose. So if you wanted to choose The Hunger Games, that's fine. You might want to choose Maze Runner. Have a look around, maybe Google dystopian books. I think there's one called The Giver. There's all sorts of different ones out there. And see which ones you fancy. And your task this week, if you would like to read a dystopian novel alongside the project, is to create a dystopian fact file outlining how and why your chosen book is a good exemplar of this genre, so this sort of fiction. So create a fact file for me, include the plot summary, your main characters, your key features and characteristics of the fiction novel, review from readers and commentaries from experts, so have a look online and see what people are saying about your book, and your personal opinion. Is it a book that you've read before and you like it because X, Y and Z, or is it a new book that's been recommended to you, or when you were having a look online you just like the sound of it? So if you choose to do this, this is your additional challenge task, and I would imagine this would probably take you a good half an hour to an hour, so it's quite a substantial bit of work plus the reading that you choose to do. But I know a few of you have contacted me to say you really like Hunger Games or this particular dystopian genre, therefore this might be quite a nice task for some of you to do. And finally, your due date is Tuesday the 16th of June, so 1 week from today, to have completed your tasks 1 to 3, and then additionally your challenge task if you wish to. Remember, if you want to do a little slightly simpler task, have a look on Go for Schools, and I've attached something called a differentiated task, which you can have a go at as well. So I wish you the best of luck. Please let me know of any questions you have, and we'll probably speak next week. Take care. Bye.